Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. Joining us now is Alex Marlow. He is the author of a new book called Breaking the Law, a must-read, President Donald Trump says. Congratulations on the new book, Alex. Tell us all about it.
Oh, thanks, Charlie. Thank you for plugging it. Yeah, this is my deep dive investigative research. I kind of pick a topic, spend a year on it. The last time I did it with the Bidens, and before I did that with the corporate media. And this time I just noticed when the lawfare was building up against President Trump, there was clear coordination across the government, including from the Biden White House, and it was just not being explored. We were actually, despite all the news on it, we weren't spending nearly enough time on it because this was a true outrage, something we'd never seen in American history. Unprecedented levels of corruption and collusion designed to take down not just President Trump, but a movement and all the people within it. And I think the story that I get to tell is completely explosive. And while I'm researching this, we see what's gone on with all these district judges trying to single-handedly execute a veto power over the executive branch of the U.S. government. Completely impossible, unconstitutional, you would think, and yet it's gone on for 6 months and it continues to go on to this day. This is really one of the fights of our time, Charlie, and it's time we spend some time thinking about it.
So let me ask you, based on your reporting and in the book Breaking the Law, was there collusion between Fani Willis, Jack Smith, and Alvin Bragg? This was always something that was so suspicious, that they all simultaneously come out with indictments. They all simultaneously kind of come out with effectively an indictment spree. Remember the rushed press conference by Fani Willis?
Yes.
What is that? Tell us, Alex Marlow.
Right. So I will share with you that there is clear evidence there was collusion from the Joe Biden White House with these various cases. One key example here is that Nathan Wade going to the White House 2 times for a total of, I think it was about 16 hours of meetings at the White House during the middle of this. Nathan Wade was only put on that case because he was Fani Willis's boyfriend, and it was essentially a grift for them to be able to make money to go on exotic vacations. Nathan Wade was a family lawyer. He was a nobody. He would never be on a case like this in a million years, aside from the fact that he was had an opportunity to make easy government cash while he had a powerful girlfriend. And him doing this somehow also got him invited to the White House. There's no scenario that anything that Nathan Wade was talking about in that White House other than how to get Donald Trump. We don't know the details of that meeting, but that's where the investigators need to begin. I don't have subpoena power, Charlie, but I can guarantee you that if I did, we would learn there's coordination, there was a collusion, that there was direction from the Joe Biden White House. Very apropos this week in the news with the Tulsi Gabbard stuff and Barack Obama. It's very clear that this is coordinated at some level, and because of disclosure rules, normal journalists can't get that information. It's now on Congress, the Senate, et cetera. They got to go in, they got to get that info now.
Yeah, and so it is a collusion. Is there a way to hold them criminally accountable for what they did to go after Trump? Can we start to get arrests here, Alex? Because I, alongside so many people, want to start to see perp walks, arrests, indictments. This seems like as if there were so many norms and customs that were basically forsaken. Alex, how do we actually ultimately get towards justice here?
Well, so first of all, all of this would be illegal if we can get the hard evidence that I can only get observational evidence. I have a lot of interviews with people who are on Trump's team, people who walk me through a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. But a lot of the things that me as a civilian, as a person who edits a website, this is where the lawyers need to come in with government subpoena power, bring people in, and I direct people where the investigations need to begin, because we're no doubt going to see high levels of illegal activity. And the things that if they're not illegal, Charlie, they absolutely should be. For example, take all these punishments against Donald Trump, these $90 million fines and $400 million fines. That's all cruel and unusual punishment, flat out. Just start from that premise. It just shows you they're willing to break the law, thus the name of the book, in order to try to get their guy. And when that failed, that explains, we just had the Butler anniversary, when they tried to take him out by shooting him. And who knows what happened on that day, because we never got answers to that either. There were clearly elements in the U.S. government that would take any means necessary to take out Trump. And that this puts a lot of, I think, meat on that bone.
Alex, shifting gears here for a second.
Sure.
And this kind of ties all of it together. If you're a homeowner, you need to listen to this. In today's AI and cyber world, scammers are stealing home titles and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee with your county, and just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name. Then they take out loans using your equity or even sell your property, and you won't even know it's happened until you get a collection or a foreclosure notice. So when's the last time you checked on your home's title? If your answer is never, you need to do something about it right now, and that's why I've partnered with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim. Use my promo code Kirk at HometitleLock.com, and you'll get free title history and a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. So check it out right now. I trust Home Title Lock, and so many of my friends do today. So go to HometitleLock.com, use promo code Kirk. That is HometitleLock.com, promo code Kirk. President Donald Trump was very animated in the Oval Office today. Let's play this piece of tape where he is calling for basically not just the indictment, but saying that Barack Obama is guilty of treason, which is punishable by death. Now, we don't know if this is a literal accusation of Obama being guilty of treason or kind of a heated moment. We don't know, but let's play this here, 319.
If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one they look. He's guilty. It's not a question. I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries.
These are fighting words, Alex Marlow. How do you interpret all of this?
Yeah, I think Trump knows that there's not been justice for him. There needs to be retribution, but not retribution in the revenge sense. There's not been justice for President Trump. For his first term, the Russian collusion hoax hijacked that entire term. We spent years and years going along with this. You had a great talk with Tucker yesterday, Charlie. I really enjoyed that. I watched the whole thing. And one of the points that's made is that how did they get the whole New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post to take it seriously? This is how. It came from Barack Obama. That's how they got him to take it seriously. And that exact same pattern played out in the Biden White House, where right after the midterm elections, we saw that top Biden officials going down to lower courts to try to look at Trump, to try to get Trump by other means. They're bringing in Nathan Wade up for some reason from Georgia up to the White House to meet. They got Merrick Garland appointing Jack Smith, who is a stone cold killer, who was totally unconstitutional, and they tried to get away with it anyway. This is what they do. These guys fight political warfare 24/7, and that's why, as I say in your show, Charlie, basically every week, we need to stay on a war footing, and that's what President Trump is doing.
We do need to stay on a war footing. So if you were to advise the president how to handle the proceeding of these potential indictments, how do we do this in a way to not seem reckless, as you say, full of revenge? How do we pursue justice above all? Because we have to pick the right indictments. We have to measure twice and cut once.
Right.
Alex Marlow.
I love this question. I use the word justice over and over again. That's the right branding. Never make it sound like you're doing this just to settle political scores, because I think scores should be settled, but you can't verbalize that to people. That's not going to convince anyone who's not a deep base voter. And then you let the facts fall where they may. They're going to be bad. We don't have to hit a grand slam every single day. Let's try to get some facts out there the way Tulsi Gabbard did last week. Gets people engaged, gets people excited. It starts exposing the bad guys for who they are. And we do have to trust the process to some degree. This is a great country with a great system relative to the others. We have a lot of flaws in our system, but overall it's pretty good. So we just need to start turning over those stones and trust that in the end, Trump is going to be vindicated. I think that's the approach. And we've got a little bit of time to do this because we've got another 3.5 years of Trump's administration.
So now, Alex, I want to play another piece of tape here. Let's go a little deeper because I know you really care about this lawfare stuff.
Yeah.
And what they did to Donald Trump. So your book, Breaking the Law, talks about the literal lawfare against Trump. But honestly, Russiagate was lawfare 1.0.
Absolutely.
through other means, try to stop the Trump administration through deep state actors and deep state manipulation. So let me play this here. I believe, this is Obamagate. So this is first, let's play Tulsi Gabbard saying there's hundreds of documents that prove Barack Obama directed this treasonous conspiracy. Play cut 252.
Over 100 documents that we released on Friday really detail and provide evidence of how this treasonous conspiracy was directed by President Obama just weeks before he was due to leave office, after President Trump had already gotten elected. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue that is so serious it should concern every single American, because it has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic.
Alex, your thoughts on this?
Here's the deal. Russiagate is absolutely part of lawfare. This is the whole point. James Comey leaked records of his interactions with Trump to gin up the Russia controversy. Who did he leak it to? A guy named Daniel Richman, a professor at Columbia Law School. The whole point was to be able to use legal means to prompt a special counsel investigation into Trump and his fake ties to Russia in order to tie up the administration. This happens over and over again. Look at the FISA surveillance. Judge Boasberg, one of the stars of lawfare, he was one of the top. He ruled that former FBI attorney Kevin Kleinsmith, one of the top Russiagate hoaxers, shouldn't get prison time. This is all coordination across branches of government to sabotage Trump. This is what we talk about when we talk about the deep state.
I want to play a piece of tape here, Alex, and then get your reaction. Play cut 308.
The growth has been in what we call pink collar jobs that men would rather sit at home and kind of just be, slovenly than be caught doing, because it's just so demeaning to how we as men are wired. They're not about creation or risk taking or value proposition or boundary pushing. They're kind of about, well, here are the rules and the norms and we must enforce them. By the way, there is a rule.
They're mom jobs.
Exactly. And you know why they're mom jobs? Because these women aren't moms. These women play mom at work because they don't have kids at home.
That's dark, man.
It's true.
Alex Marlow, your thoughts?
First of all, Charlie, congrats on the amazing appearance. I watched the whole thing. I learned a lot. I thought you were at your best, super high energy, very crisp. I don't think you missed a syllable. I think you spoke cleanly for 2 hours without making one verbal faux pas, which we in the broadcasting world, I doff my cap to you in that one. But this was your most important.
That is phenomenal feedback. Thank you. No, I'll let you continue, but only you, very few people would pick up on that. Yeah. But that's tough. It's tough. It's basically like not having an incompletion in NFL terms, but keep going.
Yeah,
Alex.
that's right. So 21 straight completions. It's pretty sweet. No, it's one of these things where we know you're well read and you're well connected, but it's also, it's more entertaining when you're smooth too. So it's great. And but this is your most important point. This is the point that needs to be made, is that we are, and I know this because as a millennial, I know that people my age and younger there's a big disconnect between my age and younger and older generations, particularly the boomers, about the way the economy is structured. They are not seeing the wholesale differences, particularly with regards to the way the economy has been feminized. And this is going to create a lot of downstream problems. First of all, the debt addiction, and then the spiraling that people do to try to get out of it, where they dedicate their lives to things like sports betting and crypto plays. And I'm not saying you should be free to do that stuff. I'm just saying it's incredibly toxic for most people to do that. And then when women are out earning men, then men are not going to be attractive to the women. And for me and you, Charlie, natalists, people go out and say, go get married and have a family. It's going to be very hard to convince young men who cannot out earn women that's a possible scenario for them. So we could be as persuasive, as convincing as we can. If the economy does not allow for young men to be men and make money, enough money to support a family, then we're going to have massive problems that are potentially existential threats to this society.
And so what did you make of then the political ramifications of our chat? Again, I encourage everyone, you can check it on YouTube. We'll post the entire thing on the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. Right now it's up on Tucker's page. What do you think this means politically, Alex Marlow?
I think registered Republicans are still with Trump, through the Israel stuff, through the Epstein stuff. But what you've been talking about, at least sometimes, Charlie, and I think is an important point that needs to be emphasized, is that there's a lot of people who are new to the coalition are not registered Republicans. They're not even reluctant Republicans like I am. They're people who don't want anything to do with the Republican Party. They just like the idea of Donald Trump, someone who's super successful, super funny, knocks things down, and exhibits those classic alpha traits. That resonates with them, gives them confidence over a sleepy Joe Biden or a feminized Barack Obama or Kamala Harris. And so they like that. So how do we keep those people in the coalition? We're not going to be able to keep them in that coalition if they don't feel like they can get ahead in Trump's economy more than they can with other presidents. And that is a fear I've got. 6 months into this administration, I give it an A. I know you gave it an A as well, just because of the border stuff alone gets the job done. But there is much more we can do to try to reset things for younger generations so that they can partake in the American dream.
Alex Marlow, you're doing a phenomenal job. Check out Breaking the Law. That is Breaking the Law. And thank you for the kind words of our conversation that we had with Tucker Carlson. And it was great to be able to have a 2-hour format to talk about a couple issues that don't always get the long form attention. Yeah. Unfortunately, so often we get long form attention on stuff that is not immediately consequential. But what could possibly be more important for family formation? We're a very pro-family show. When that you can own a home. And I asked the question again, when was the last time you washed a rental car? And the answer is probably never. You don't get your rental car's oil changed. When you rent, you don't take where you live as seriously because it's not your own. Your politics changes, your attitude changes, your philosophy changes when you are an owner. And we need to make this generation owners and make sure we bring the lost boys back in to be leaders of the civilization. Alex Marlow, congrats. Come back anytime. I think we have you on once a week. Breaking the Law by Alex Marlow. Alex, thank you so much.